Welcome to the channel, US Rare Coins News. Today we are looking at a coin that most people ignore, but some collectors would never pass up. Top 1, the 1974 D. Eisenhower $1. At first glance, it looks big, heavy, and honestly kind of ordinary. But here's the twist, some of these coins have sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on what's hiding in the details. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what makes this coin special, the rare features you need to look for, and why one small detail could turn your everyday dollar into something collectors are actively hunting. Now picture this. You're holding a large, silver-colored coin. It feels solid. That's your first clue. This isn't like modern lightweight coins. The 1974 D. Eisenhower Dollar was minted in Denver, and you'll see that small D mint mark just below Eisenhower's neck on the front. That tiny letter matters more than most people realize. Take a closer look at the front. You've got President Dwight D. Eisenhower facing left, clean design, bold features. Flip it over, and now you see the eagle landing on the moon, holding an olive branch. It's actually inspired by the Apollo 11 mission insignia, which already gives this coin a cool historical edge. Now here's where things start to get interesting. Most of these coins were made for circulation, meaning millions exist. So why would anyone pay big money for one? Because not all of them are the same. Some 1974 D. Eisenhower dollars have striking errors. And these errors are where collectors get excited. For example, you might find coins with weak strikes, where the details look soft, especially on the eagle or Eisenhower's hair. That alone can be interesting, but not always valuable. But then, there are double die errors. Look very carefully at the lettering, especially Liberty or In God We Trust. If you see slight doubling, almost like a shadow effect, you could be holding something rare. And here's another one that most people miss. Die cracks or cuts. These show up as raised lines or blobs of metal on the surface of the coin. It might look like damage, but it's actually a minting flaw, and collectors love these unique imperfections. Now imagine this scenario. You're sorting through old coins, maybe from a family collection. You find one of these Eisenhower dollars. It looks a bit different. Something feels off. That's the moment collectors dream about. Because one small detail can change everything. Condition is another huge factor. If your coin still has sharp details, minimal scratches, and strong luster, it can jump significantly in value. Coins graded in high mint state, especially MS65 or higher, are much harder to find than people think. Let me give you a quick visual idea. If you're making a video, this is where you zoom in tight on the coin. Show the mint mark. Slowly move across the surface. Highlight the lettering. Then flip it dramatically to the reverse and focus on the eagle. These close-ups keep viewers hooked and help them see what to look for. Now here comes the part everyone waits for. What is this coin actually worth? A typical circulated 1974 D. Eisenhower dollar is usually worth around $1 to $3. Not very exciting, right? But in uncirculated condition, you're looking at roughly $10 to $50 depending on quality, and if you have a high-grade example or a coin with a noticeable error, values can climb into the hundreds. Some exceptional graded coins have sold for over $1,000 at auction. That's a huge jump from face value, all because of condition and tiny details most people overlook. So here's the real question. Do you have one of these coins sitting somewhere right now? Check your drawers. Check old collections. Look closely at the mint mark, the lettering, and the overall condition. You might be holding something far more valuable than you think, and I want to know, have you ever found a rare coin in your collection, or are you still searching for that one lucky discovery? Drop your answer in the comments. Top 2, today we are looking at a coin that most people think is just a big, heavy dollar, but in the right condition, the 1977 D. Eisenhower $1 can quietly turn into a collector's jackpot. And here's the crazy part, millions were made, yet only a tiny fraction are actually worth serious money. So how do you know if yours is one of the valuable ones? Stick with me, because I'm going to show you the exact details, hidden errors, and the real value at the end that might surprise you. Start by really looking at the coin. Not just a quick glance. Hold it, feel the weight. This coin is large, almost oversized compared to modern coins, and that alone makes it stand out. On the front, you'll see President Dwight D. Eisenhower facing left. Strong features, bold design. Now look just below his neck, there it is. That small D mint mark. That means it was struck in Denver. Now flip it over slowly. This is where things get interesting. You'll see an eagle landing on the moon, holding an olive branch. It's not just a random design. It's actually inspired by the Apollo 11 mission. So right away, this coin connects two powerful pieces of history, an American president and the moon landing era. Now you might be thinking, if millions were made, how can this coin be rare? That's where things change. Most 1977 D. Eisenhower dollars were heavily used. They were in pockets, cash registers, banks. Over time, they picked up scratches, wear, and dull surfaces. So finding one today in truly clean, uncirculated condition is much harder than people expect. Here's what you want to do. Bring the camera in close. Zoom in on Eisenhower's hair. Look at the fine lines. If those details are sharp and not worn down, you might have something good. Now shift to the eagle on the back. Focus on the feathers and the moon surface. Clean, crisp details are everything, but condition is only part of the story. Now let's talk about errors, because this is where collectors start paying attention. Some 1977 D coins show doubled lettering. Look closely at words like liberty or in God we trust. If the letters look slightly doubled, like there's a shadow or overlap, that's not damage. That's a mint error. And that can increase value fast. Another thing to watch for is die cracks. These appear as thin raised lines across the coin. At first, they might look like scratches, but they're actually formed during the minting process. Every crack is unique, which makes each coin a one-of-a-kind piece, and here's something most people overlook. Strike quality. Many of these coins were not struck perfectly. So if you find one with unusually sharp details and strong luster, it stands out immediately to collectors. Now imagine this. You're going through old coins at home. Maybe a jar, maybe a collection passed down. You pull out a 1977 D. Eisenhower dollar. It looks cleaner than the rest. The details pop. The shine catches your eye. That's the moment where a simple coin turns into a real discovery. This is where you pause and take a closer look, because the difference between an ordinary coin and a valuable one is often in the smallest details. Let's talk real numbers. A worn, circulated 1977 D. Eisenhower dollar is usually worth around $1 to $3. Pretty standard, but if your coin is uncirculated, with strong detail and good luster, it can range from about $10 to $50. Now here's where it gets serious. High-grade examples, especially those graded MS65 or higher, can sell for a few $100s. And in rare cases, coins with exceptional quality or notable errors have reached prices over $1,000 at auction. Same coin. Completely different value, just based on condition and tiny details. So let me ask you, do you already have one of these coins? Go check right now. Look for that D mint mark. Check the details. Look for doubling, cracks, or anything unusual. You might be sitting on something far more valuable than you think, and tell me in the comments, what's the best coin you've ever found, or which coin are you hoping to add to your collection next? Top 3. Today we are looking at a coin that a lot of people have seen, but almost nobody checks closely enough, and that mistake could cost you hundreds of dollars. The 1972 D. Eisenhower $1. Here's the part that surprises most people. Even though this coin was made in huge numbers, certain versions, especially with the right condition or subtle mint mistakes, can be worth way more than face value. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and how much your coin could really be worth. So let's start with the coin in your hand. Big, heavy, impossible to ignore. That's the Eisenhower dollar. It already feels different from modern coins. Now bring the camera in close. On the front, you see President Dwight D. Eisenhower facing left. Strong profile, bold lettering. Just below his neck, look for a tiny D. That's your Denver mint mark, and it tells you exactly where this coin was made. Now flip it over slowly. Don't rush this part. The reverse is one of the coolest designs in US coin history. An eagle landing on the moon, holding an olive branch. This design was inspired by the Apollo 11 mission patch, which connects this coin directly to one of the greatest moments in human history. But here's where things start to change. Most people stop at the design. Collectors go deeper. The 1972 Eisenhower Dollar isn't considered rare just because of low mintage. It's valuable because of condition, strike quality, and a few overlooked details that most people miss completely. Let's talk condition first. Imagine two identical coins. One has scratches, dull color, worn details. The other looks sharp, shiny, almost untouched. Same year, same mint, completely different value. That's how powerful condition is. Now zoom in on Eisenhower's hair. Are the lines sharp or smooth? Look at the cheek and jawline. Still crisp, or worn down? Then move to the back. Focus on the eagle's feathers and the surface of the moon. Strong detail means higher potential value, but don't stop there. Here's where things get interesting. Some 1972 coins show doubling in the text. Look closely at Liberty and In God We Trust. If you notice slight doubling, like a shadow around the letters, that's not damage, that's a minting error. And collectors love that. Another detail to watch for is die cracks. These appear as thin, raised lines across the coin. They might look like random marks at first, but they're actually formed during production. Each one is unique, which makes your coin stand out. Now imagine you're going through old coins at home. You find one of these. It looks cleaner than the others. The shine hits differently. The details are sharper. That's the moment you pause, because this could be more than just a dollar, and here's a small twist most people don't expect. Many Eisenhower dollars, including the 1972 were not struck with perfect detail. So when you find one that is well struck, with strong, clear features, it becomes much more desirable. This is where collectors start paying real attention. Now let's talk about value, because this is what everyone wants to know. A typical circulated 1972 Eisenhower dollar is usually worth around $1 to $3. Nothing special at first glance. If it's uncirculated, with good luster and minimal marks, you're looking at around $10 to $50, but if you have a high-grade example, especially graded MS65 or higher, the value can jump into the hundreds. And coins with exceptional quality or noticeable errors have sold for over $1,000 at auction. Same coin. Same year. But the smallest details can completely change the price. So now I've got a question for you. Do you own a 1972 Eisenhower dollar? Have you ever checked it closely, or is it just sitting somewhere unnoticed? Take a look after this video. Check the mint mark. Study the details. You might find something you didn't expect, and tell me in the comments, what's the most valuable coin you've ever found, or which coin are you hoping to discover one day? Top 4. Today we are looking at a coin that most people think is just a big, old dollar, but the 1971 Eisenhower $1 was the very first of its kind, and some versions of it can be worth far more than you'd expect. Here's what makes this really interesting. This wasn't just another coin release. This was the first year the Eisenhower dollar was ever minted. That alone makes it special. But what most people don't realize is that certain 1971 coins, depending on condition and tiny details, can jump from a simple dollar to hundreds, even over $1,000. So let's break it down and see what you should be looking for. Start with the coin in your hand. It's large, heavy, and feels completely different from modern coins. That's your first clue you're holding something from a different era. Now bring the camera in close. On the front, you see President Dwight D. Eisenhower facing left. Strong design, bold lettering. Just below his neck, look for the small d. That's your Denver mint mark. Now flip it over slowly. Take your time here. You'll see an eagle landing on the moon, holding an olive branch. This design comes from the Apollo 11 mission insignia, connecting this coin directly to the moment humans first landed on the moon. That alone gives this coin a powerful story, but here's where things start to get interesting. Even though millions of these coins were produced, most of them were not struck very well. That means many 1971 Eisenhower dollars have weak details, especially in Eisenhower's hair and the eagle's feathers. So when you find one with sharp, clean details, it stands out immediately. Now zoom in even closer. Look at the hair above Eisenhower's ear. Are the lines sharp and clear, or do they look flat? Move to the reverse. Focus on the eagle's chest and wings. Strong detail here is a big deal, and now we get into the part that collectors really care about: errors. Some 1971 coins show doubling in the lettering. Look carefully at Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see a slight overlap or shadow effect, that could be a double die error. It's subtle, but it can make a big difference in value. Another thing to watch for is die cracks. These appear as raised lines across the coin's surface. They're not damage. They're minting flaws, and each one is unique. That uniqueness is exactly what collectors look for. Here's a scenario you might relate to. You're going through old coins, maybe from a jar or a family collection. You pull out a 1971 Eisenhower dollar. At first, it looks normal. But then you notice something: the shine is stronger, the details are sharper, something feels different. That's the moment where an ordinary coin can turn into something much more valuable, and here's the twist most people don't expect: because this was the first year of production, quality control wasn't perfect. That means truly high-quality examples are harder to find than later years. So collectors are always on the lookout for well-preserved 1971 coins. Now let's talk about what this coin is actually worth. A typical circulated 1971 Eisenhower dollar is usually worth around $1 to $3. That if you have an uncirculated coin with good luster and decent detail, it can range from about $10 to $50. But if your coin is in high mint condition, especially graded MS65 or higher, the value can climb into the hundreds. And in rare cases, top-quality examples have sold for over $1,000 at auction. That's a huge difference for the same coin. And it all comes down to condition and small details most people ignore. So now I've got to ask you, do you have one of these coins sitting somewhere right now? Go check your collection. Look for that mint mark. Study the details. Look for sharp features, doubling, or anything unusual, and tell me in the comments, have you ever found a coin that surprised you with its value, or which coin are you still hoping to find one day? Top 5. Today we are looking at a coin that quietly marked the end of an era, and most people have no idea it could be worth far more than just $1. The 1978 Eisenhower $1. Here's what makes this so interesting. This was the final year the Eisenhower dollar was ever produced. After this, the series ended. No more big, heavy dollars. That alone makes the 1978 special. But what really matters is this: some of these coins, with the right condition and small details, can be worth hundreds, even over $1,000. So how do you know if yours is one of them? Let's break it down step by step. Start with the coin itself. Hold it up. It's big, bold, and heavier than anything you see in your pocket today. That's your first sign you're dealing with something different. Now bring the camera in close. On the front, you see President Dwight D. Eisenhower facing left. Strong profile, clear lettering. Just below his neck, look carefully for a small D. That's your Denver mint mark. Now flip it over slowly. Let the camera follow the movement. On the back, you'll see the iconic eagle landing on the moon, holding an olive branch. This design was inspired by the Apollo 11 mission patch, tying this coin to one of the greatest achievements in history. But here's where things start to get interesting: because this was the last year of the series, many collectors saved these coins. But even then, most of them didn't stay in perfect condition. They picked up marks, scratches, dull surfaces. So today, finding a 1978 Eisenhower dollar with strong, clean details is harder than people think. Now zoom in close. Look at Eisenhower's hair. Are the lines sharp, or do they look flat and worn? Move to the cheek and jaw. Then flip to the back and focus on the eagle's feathers. If those details are crisp and clear, you might be holding a higher grade coin, and now we get into the part most people miss completely, the errors. Some 1978 D coins show slight doubling in the lettering. Look closely at Liberty and In God We Trust. If the letters look like they have a faint shadow or overlap, that's not damage. That's a mint error, and collectors notice that immediately. You might also find die cracks. These appear as raised lines across the coin's surface. They're not scratches. They were created during the minting process. Each one is unique, which makes your coin stand out. Here's something else to watch for. Strike quality. Even in 1978, not every coin was struck perfectly. So when you find one with unusually sharp details and strong luster, it becomes much more desirable. Now imagine this moment. You're going through old coins at home. Maybe a drawer, maybe a collection you haven't touched in years. You find a 1978 D Eisenhower dollar. At first, it seems normal. But then you notice the shine, the detail, something feels different. That's the moment you stop and take a closer look, because this could be more than just a dollar, and here's the twist. Since this is the final year of the Eisenhower Dollar series, collectors often look for high-quality examples to complete their sets. That demand pushes the best coins even higher in value. Now let's talk about the numbers. A typical circulated 1978 D Eisenhower dollar is usually worth around $1 to $3. If your coin is uncirculated, with strong luster and minimal marks, it can range from about $10 to $50, but if you have a high-grade coin, especially graded MS65 or higher, values can climb into the hundreds. And in rare cases, top-quality examples have sold for over $1,000 at auction. Same coin. Same year. But the difference is all in the details. So now I've got a question for you. Do you have a 1978 D Eisenhower dollar sitting somewhere right now? Go check. Look for that D mint mark. Study the details. Look for sharp features, doubling, or anything unusual, and tell me in the comments, what's the one coin you'd love to find in your collection, or have you already discovered something valuable without even realizing it at first? If you enjoyed this and want more videos like this, real coins, real values, and what to actually look for, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and watch the next video on your screen. Because the next coin we cover might already be in your collection, just waiting to be noticed.